I think there are many people who think this is an opportunity to grow. Remember, the Liberal Party certainly has been sending a lot of signals that it needs to do some soul searching, and this could be a way to do it, unburdened perhaps by other policy areas. So I don't think this is some kind of disastrous that's been painted out. It's also got a long way to go. This is as you hinted at, they may well come back. There'll be different versions of that, perhaps. Yeah. I don't think we're quite sure where this ends, and we certainly don't know what it will look like for voters before the next election.
Well, it's not a disaster if it's only temporary, Yaron. But if it's not temporary and this split remains, well, how can either party ever be a party of government? It's a long way off.
Well, that is the question, and of course, the answer to that is very easily. If together they have more votes than Labor, they're able to form a government. And that's the point. It could well be that we are beginning to see a slightly European-style arrangement in how parliamentary majorities are formed. Now, I'm not saying that's exactly where we'll be in 3 years' time, but it may well be that we have different parties, and then they say, well, I got this many votes, I've got this many seats, let's see if we can form a coalition. It'll be a lot easier for our two foundation coalition partners to do that. But that may well be what we're seeing.
Yeah, interesting that you say that as well, because that is how European parliaments have gone really for the last decade, or perhaps even more. That said, maybe it's not a formal coalition, but it is a coalition of government if the Liberals get within striking distance, for example. But whilst they need to do their individual work, the Liberals really need to do some work in those now teal seats and with those teal MPs, don't they?
Well, let's say the answer to that is an absolute yes. And one might say, well, doesn't this make it easier? Remember, we spoke last week about the need for the Liberal Party to surprise some of those voters who left them in 22 and perhaps still stayed away in 25. They needed to surprise them. We now have a very good woman leader for the Liberal Party. They're now seen to be slightly separated from the National Party. They are surprising those voters. It doesn't mean that they've switched their vote on that basis, but the first thing they've seen is, that's interesting, that's a change, and they've perhaps kept an open door to looking at them into the future. That's not a bad thing at all, Laura, exactly to your point, to bring back some of those voters that have been lost over the last 5-6 years.
Would it be a crazy suggestion? And I don't even think this is palatable to the Liberal moderates at the moment because
Go on, say it. Okay. It won't be crazy coming from you. Say it.
It might be crazy, but in the future, I mean, it's really an add-on to my previous question, is that some of these teals perhaps need to be brought into the Liberal tent somehow. Now, I don't know how that would work, but do you see that happening?
It's a long shot, and it's not about all of them, but there's always going to be one or two who have ambitions for impact. Ambitions for impact is, I should trademark that, but essentially there's a point at which some of the so-called teal members are knocking on doors with plans for this and policies for that, but it means nothing if you're not actually in government, let alone opposition. So there will be a temptation to ask themselves, what am I here for? And there are only so many meetings you can take about local roundabouts, as worthy as that topic is, before some of your other ambitions take hold and you look at what are my other options. So I think that it's a big radical idea, but it's potentially on some people's mind as they start thinking, what else could I be doing with this time that I have in Parliament to make a difference? Am I better off with another party? The challenge, though, is, Laura, is that they all fail ultimately to find a narrative back to those voters because they've fed them a message about independence for so many years. What are they saying that has changed for them to come across to the Liberal Party? That's probably the hard bit, and that's not easily answered. but that's what would be on their minds.
Yeah, I think so as well, Yaron. Thanks so much. And don't forget about the potholes as well. It's not just roundabouts. That always comes up in every single federal election.
You're quite right.
See you soon.
Right.